Okay. I call the July 16th, 2025. June, thank you, 16th, 2025. Meeting of the Urban Renewal Agency to order at 9:24. All right, Lori, would you please call us to order?
I will.
Do the roll call, I'm sorry.
Thank you. You're fine. You're really fine tonight. Commissioner Dumbrell.
Present.
Commissioner Page.
Here.
Commissioner Hagedorn. Here. Commissioner McCall Wallace. Here. Commissioner Papen. Present. Commissioner Redding. Here. And Commissioner Goodwin is excused.
All right.
Not online, so.
Thank you, Lori.
Mhm.
At this time, I'll entertaining discussion or a motion on approval of the minutes for the previous board meeting, which was also super thrilling.
I'll make a motion to approve the URA. And I second it.
Approved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed.
Thank
Motion
you.
carries. Thank you. Is there any public comment?
None.
Chief, you don't want a public comment? Come on. All right, beautiful.
Got nothing.
I will, I'm gonna make one comment at the end, but that's not public comment. It's just.
Just
my
comment.
Comment. Actually, and I have a joke for later too. All right, this time I'm turning over to Bill for resolution 2308 URA adoption 25-27 biennial budget. Bill.
Thank you, Board Chair. Resolution 2308 URA. So this is the Urban Renewal Agency in your capacity as the board for the Urban Renewal Agency to adopt the biennial budget for the beginning July 1 for the Urban Renewal Agency. Total budget appropriations, including a reserve for future expenditure, $4.7 million. I might be able to hit two birds with one stone here, given where I know Board Chair is going after this discussion. I want to point out a few different things in the budget that would be approved. Number one is under professional services in the budget is a sizable amount of money to do a couple of things over the next 2 years. Number one, a smaller effort is to extend the sunset date for the urban renewal plan. 2027 marks the end of the first 20 years, the approved 20 years of the Urban Renewal Agency. And after that date, beginning in 2027, I believe June, we'll check on the specific date, we have time. But the bottom line is that the Urban Renewal Agency, if the sunset date on the Urban Renewal Agency isn't extended for another 20 years, the URA can't take on any more projects, any more debt to do anything. Or urban renewal agencies have to do everything with debt. It's an odd, bizarre thing, but it's debt. Everything is done with debt. So the Urban Renewal Agency can't do any more projects if we don't extend the sunset date. That's not a significant amendment. So the cost of it and the time frame for it isn't extensive. We can do that sooner rather than later. But the big thing would be the substantial amendment to the URA, and that is to go through a much larger process. The plan, when it was adopted in 2006, effective 2007, had a laundry list of projects and maximum indebtedness, which is the maximum amount that the district can even borrow over the 20-year period. Most of the projects are done. A lot has changed. A lot of there are parts of the urban renewal area district that have seen growth, development. It's been successful, but there are some areas that linger. There are some areas that you all might want to consider adding to the existing the urban renewal agency. And there might be some areas that you want to balance, maybe take out a little bit, or whatever. So modifying the district. There's also the idea actually of exploring in this process of doing a second urban renewal district rather than modifying the first one. There's actually room to do a second one in a different part of town if you wish. Like, that's an option.
That's cool.
So yeah, no, well, the nice thing about that is that there's still things to do in that. Like, you don't want to modify this one too much probably because there's still a lot to do in downtown and along Glencoe. A lot's been done, but a lot can still be done. So if you modify the boundary much, then you might hinder doing some things. But if you keep it as is, and then you just establish a second district somewhere, under the maximum amount that you can do for a city this size. Then you keep doing here and you do new over here. I mean, that's an option. So, but that process is in the budget. It's funded. It's just a matter of when we can get on, her calendar and do that. So that's all in the budget. The other thing I want to point out, generally speaking, is that in the budget, you'll notice, there's a grants line item. And it doesn't specifically say, pardon me, say food service grants budget. It just says property assistance or something grants. And that's intentional because you all might want to do different types or expand the program or add a new program. We talked a bit about that. The prior council, composition before identified new restaurants and keeping people here and dining here as the first priority for a grant program. But that doesn't mean you all can't do something different or expand or whatever. So the budget includes money for grant programs generally. And so you certainly have room with this budget to do new and different things. It would be a mistake to think that you're stuck spending money on one thing. And that's something to come back and discuss. And I think Board Chair Dunbar had some ideas about that, and that would be great to begin that process. So I just wanted to point out that those are kind of features of the budget. And if it's adopted, it's all in there. So I think I'll stand there.
Councilor Reddy.
Before we extend, the sunset date, do our financials have to be up to date, and are the URA financials up to date?
The URA financials are kind of in the same position. They're actually behind by a little bit more. Because we were given some bad guidance. I won't get into the details about it, but the URA audits. So when this gets into the weeds, but when a city audit is done, all of its funds are audited, including the URA. But then, so all of the URA's audits are basically, from a reporting standpoint, in the same position as the city's audits. It's FY22 is almost done, then FY23. But the state requires a separate redundant audit to be done for the URA alone. And because of some bad advice we got a number of years ago, those are backed up further in sequence. Now, it doesn't mean that the numbers are inaccurate or anything. We need to worry about it because every year the URA is audited along with the city as one of its funds. But procedurally, we have more of those to do. Basically, but the bottom line is that the numbers are there and verified with audits every year with the city. So no, the financial consultants and the auditors have seen the numbers for FY22. They've been working on FY23. There aren't any surprises anticipated, nothing like that. And we actually spend far less of the budgeted expenditures every year of the URA because it's not taken as seriously. I don't want to say that, but what I would say is that the power and the scope of the Urban Renewal Agency as a fund to do things in the city has kind of taken a back seat to other things. And so the spending year to year is always quite a bit below what council appropriates. So I would say there's even less of an impact or potential impact of anything being behind with the URA than the city, generally speaking.
But legally, to extend the date, do we know if we have to be up to date? That was like kind of the question I was.
I can ask Elaine Howard about that. Probably not, just because a lot of different URAs and agencies generally are behind on audits. And in my time when I did urban renewal plans, there was never a city that got held up because of an audit issue. But I can check with her. She's far more up to date on current state law. And we can see, I did go to a lunch and meet with her about bringing her on, at least to come and talk and potentially, we'll have to get bids and everything, but potentially she's about the only person that does this stuff in the state anymore. And so she can come and talk about all of that and scope things out, but probably not. It probably won't hold it up.
Thank you.
Councilor McCall.
Yeah, just a comment on it with looking at the URA in the future and where we are currently, that it is a significant funding source for the city, and it is a significant tax that we pay, essentially. And so, knowing that goes out, annually. We need to be able to really make sure that we're focused on utilizing it to get the return that the community is expecting for that.
If I might tag on to that, the most critical thing when we talk about updating things and extending the sunset date but you know, and potentially doing a major amendment, a significant amendment, or adding a new urban renewal agency, I will tell you right now that the most critical part of that in terms of success will actually be the relationship we have and including the other taxing districts, because we get their revenue. Like urban renewal agencies, we get their incremental revenue over time. And our pledge to them is is within an urban renewal agency, in an urban renewal district, we get an increasing amount of money that they would have been getting if there wasn't an urban renewal agency. They actually give us tax revenue. But the pledge there is that we will use it to create more increment, more growth in the district, so that when it's done, there's more revenue overall being generated because there's more development within the urban renewal district. So we have to be very careful about getting their trust to extend and the pledge to continue to try to get new development that's taxable. Other agencies are okay with public projects if they facilitate development. But I'll tell you right now, the one agency in this state that has fought more urban renewal agencies because of urban renewal agencies being used to just fund public projects rather than get private development happening is Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue right here. They have been a force for a number of state laws and reforms to urban renewal agencies over the years, because cities used to use urban renewal to fund city buildings and that were just facilities funds. And they've actually pushed and successfully gotten a number of law changes in the legislature about urban renewal over time. So they'll be a critical partner in all of this.
That's fair.
Something Bill said, gave me a light bulb moment that I read, so no comment.
No.
Any other comments or just no
But
comments?
I did, when taxable revenue, when Bill was explaining, I saw his eyes light up. It's exciting.
Yes, revenue is good.
This clearly is a exciting topic.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Council Pick.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
No, overall, I think just any source of revenue at this point, is, we cannot turn a blind eye to, so.
Councilor Page?
I'm in agreement. If there's money on the table, you take it. So
Yeah.
let's figure out where to take it.
So I'll say I support the budget, first of all, just to be clear. I support getting the audits done, but having looked at the audits, I'm not super concerned about those right now. I would like to see them done, but I understand where we're at with that. What I would like us to do as a body with public comment and testimony, and maybe this is the work session with the EDC, I don't know. And I know I'm stepping back into the council, but bear with me for a second. My thought is I would like to, for us as a body, both as a URA and a council, to understand, to ask good questions of, you know, Bill and others, and sorry, the lady.
Elaine Howard.
Elaine Howard, thank you. It's on the tip of my tongue. And of Elaine when the time comes to do the visioning. And I would like to understand, is this something where we could grow the businesses in North Plains in a sustainable way? Because again, sustainable revenue is critical for us. And I like businesses as long as we do it the right way. And I just want to make sure that we are supporting our businesses. And I'm just going to be honest that I'm not an expert in that, but I'm very open to learning and I have a lot of questions. So I'm hoping, you know, I would like to try to get a meeting on the calendar for the 21st, the URA board meeting for the 21st. To hear, I know there's a couple people who wanted to talk, and Bill also gave me a little bit of information on one of them. So I think that should be something that the council or the URA board hears from, and that way we're better informed to make decisions. Just around like different opportunities that are maybe either not food related or are established businesses. And I know there's a lot of pros and cons there, but I think it's good for us to listen and hear and then have some conversation and then try to come up with a plan that we think will serve the city best. So that was my comment, suggestion, thought is I'm pro, but I don't have enough information to make a decision yet, but if we could get on the board meeting to deliberate, I think it'd be helpful, so. Everybody good with that?
Can you clarify once more, apologies,
Yeah.
so the upcoming URA meeting, the expected outcome of this meeting with Elaine is to.
Oh, that's a future one, that's Bill was talking about doing some visioning for like, what would the URA look like going forward, is that right?
Well,
Multiple meetings. for that.
There's a lot of those.
But my suggested plan would be to solicit some bids first, including from her on a sunset date extension. Because that's basically reaching out to the different other taxing agencies and saying the city wants to extend, and this is, it continues to pledge to the grocery store and yada, yada, yada. And then after that, not long after, or even concurrently, going out for get some formal bids on a substantial amendment. So to kind of the bigger, expand, change, maybe add an urban renewal district.
Get some expertise.
Okay.
So can I ask? a
Oh, please.
clarification?
Yes. thank
Because I
you.
jotted down July 21st URA meeting, but that's also the EDC work session
Oh,
with you guys. So is
Could
it
we-
just the work session or do you want to have a URA meeting
would
at?
the council be okay with just having it as a work session with the EDC or commission?
Well, how do we find out what they've already done with their downtown plan or what they're working on? I mean, they have a report coming to us, so I
That's
feel
a
like.
great point, and that information could inform our.
So maybe what I'm hearing is we're too early for the meeting, maybe we need to do the EDC work session, get the data, and then have a meeting, is that?
Well, could the EDC report just be emailed to us?
Well, I think I want to ask them questions about the downtown plan and what they're working on and what they want to do, and I thought we were going to be sort of revisiting where the commissions are, what they're working on in relationship to the plans that we will put in place for them, but by we, I mean council historically. Because some of the plans go back to like 2000 and something, so.
I was just gonna say, the EDC actually, right after the downtown plan was, during the downtown plan process 2 years ago, the EDC went out and collected a bunch of examples of like new urban renewal plans or updated plans for like what other cities are doing and all that. And like, they've just been sitting on it for 2 years, so they'll be ready to come and sell it. I mean, they can talk it up, yeah.
Do a combined thing, so we have a sort of check-in with the board, like we should be doing with, where are you, what are you doing, what are you working on, do you understand what our goals are? And then also do, here's the URA challenge. Because one of the things we did ask to be on the agenda was the idea of changing the grant structure so that it wasn't for only new businesses, but was for existing businesses. So that's another thing down the road, but, that was sort of driving that and expanding the URA or not, or extending it, sorry. So can we do it together as one?
That's where I get on the phone.
Possibly a redundant question is, would the Elaine meeting essentially be the URA visioning kind of strategic?
Well, we would, that would be something we need to retain her for, because she probably wouldn't do it for free. Like, she'll come and talk about, like, she'll do urban renewal 101. Look, here's what you have, here's what you're running up against. Like, she can tell you what you need to do and what you're facing
Yeah.
and what the changes need to be, and then
Consulting.
and then that basically turns into the scope of work for whomever we hire to do it. But she can kind of give you here's the law, here's what you have, here's what the law, here's what you probably want to do, here's what you should be thinking about. And then that's what we turn around and go out for bid for.
That makes sense. I think that a briefing would be helpful, just foundational, but this is my marketing brain. It would be great to have a strategy to inform action. So whatever we do, I would think that it should be anchored in some
So I think,
North Star.
yes, I think that's the big RFP that goes out, or whatever, RFI. I think to answer Councilor McCall Wallace, or to respond to Councilor McCall Wallace's point, I think, yes, we could bring those together. Well, I assume we could, my opinion. But
I was gonna say that it seems like we could bring it together in terms of having that initial conversation.
yes, that's the,
And
yes,
then say, here, can you go do some work on this for us?
yeah.
And we'll come back to that, because it doesn't sound like a one work session or a half a work session thing to me anyway, with the whole URA replanning.
I just
You know,
want to make sure we
but-
start the conversation.
But I feel like the other part was, trying to make this gesture to the boards and commissions about, here's what we are doing. Tell us what you are doing and what you're interested in, rather than we're coming here to tell you to work on the URA. So I want to be able to be open to hearing their ideas and their points of view. And I've heard that several of the boards and commissions are just sort of sitting on their hands, wanting to do things, but not feeling that they know that council is there, ready for them to move forward.
Okay. Councilor Page.
Nothing new. I mean, that's,
All right,
again, yeah, let's get our ducks in a row. If it takes another meeting or two, that's fine. I guess we have to pay for the presentation. Bill?
No, sorry,
Commissioner.
sorry, Commissioner Page, respectfully, I was going for counselor, grabbing up that word again.
It's fine.
No, she can come and kind of give you all an orientation about what as a body you need to do. Governance wise, for extending and so on and so forth. But visioning and helping you kind of put stuff on a map and all that, that's billable work.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
is it too early to do that on the 21st? Or do you think we could get her by then for that?
let me check with her. Or you know, if she knows if she's gone on vacation or anything. It might need to be August, so we'll see.
So what I would say is, if possible, let's add it to the agenda if everybody's on board, to have her come in and talk to us so we can get smarter.
Yeah.
And then try to work through this, because I do want to move forward. I just want to make sure that we're not the ones in the way of progress.
Yeah,
What's the deadline for for the extension? How long do we have to do this? Can we wait until July, August, September?
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, I need to double check, but I believe it is December 31st, 2026. But let me double check that.
Okay,
Also, to add another point to this, there's a lot of members on our board that care about audits. I don't want us to be paralyzed by audits. However, is there a way to get this done with faster?
It's greatly a bandwidth thing.
I have a hard time hearing. There's fireworks going out right outside my window.
Oh,
That's closing up, right? So I have like,
there.
feel so bad for you.
Yeah, no, it's really just it kind of boils down to a bandwidth issue, Commissioner Page. But all this budget stuff, this has absorbed a ton of my time for the past several weeks. 22 is about done. So yes, over the summer, we can make up a lot of time and get a lot of stuff done. But yeah, no, it's just been a struggle with, the accountant gone and kind of double duty on all that stuff. It's a capacity thing, is all it's been over the last, 3 months.
And it's also 2 other steps. There's 2 other steps that have to look at it as well.
Yeah.
For the audit.
okay,
And they're.
so any further discussion, or I can entertain a motion?
I was pushed to do this. Thank you, Michelle. I move to approve resolution 2308 to adopt URA budget. Make appropriations and declare to collect the tax revenue for the 2025 through 2027 fiscal year.
All right, move, your second.
My second.
Okay, Councilor McCall, seconds. Do we need a roll call, Lauren? Okay, all those in favor of passing resolution 2308, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. And with that, hey, James, you just passed 2 budgets. What are you gonna do?
I'll go to Disneyland.
All right, with that, we are adjourned at 21:48. I've been saving that joke all night.
I know, man. Holy crap. Yeah, good job.